Well, coming up next in just a few moments, the all-action Larry Friars will take on Joseph Rivera, a 6-round welterweight contest. That's coming up in just a few moments.
Ladies and gentlemen, our next contest here at Fight Night, brought to you by Boxing Insider in association with DeBella Entertainment and streaming on DAZN, takes place inside of 6 rounds in the junior welterweight division. Our first competitor makes his way to the blue corner at this time. Here is Larry Friars.
So Larry Friars from Yonkers, New York, with a record of 11-6-1. He is winless in his last 6 bouts, but none of them have been boring. And for Friars, he says that's more important to him than winning titles. He says that being in exciting fights is more valuable to him than putting gold around his waist.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, approaching the red corner, here is Joshua David Rivera.
So here's the 8-2 Joshua David Rivera, who last time out dropped an 8-round unanimous decision to Aaron Aponte on the undercard of the Amanda Serrano, Erica Cruz card in a bout that was streamed on DAZN. Now looking to get back in the win column, back on the DAZN airwaves.
In Joshua Rivera's own terms, he said, for both of us, it's a must-win fight. And we see the tail of the tape here.
Here we take a look at the tail of the tape. These two match up fairly evenly in a physical sense. Larry Friars, 32 years of age. He's taken a lot of punishment throughout his career. And I'm sure he's going to be looking to turn in another barn burner tonight against Joseph Rivera. It should be a good one. Let's send it back up to the center of the ring to Matt Compitello.
Ladies and gentlemen, this junior welterweight bout takes place inside of 6 rounds. Our ringside judges are John Basile, Robert Perez, and Marcel Varela. And Claudio is the referee in charge of the action. Introducing first, competing out of the blue corner, from Clones, Ireland, now residing in Greenville, New York. He stands 5 feet, 8 inches tall, weighing in at 143.4 pounds. Entering this contest with a record of 11 wins, 6 losses, and 1 draw. 4 of his 11 wins by way of knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, here is Lethal Larry Friars. And his opponent, competing out of the red corner, from La Mesa, California, standing 5 feet, 9 inches tall, weighing in at 142.8 pounds. Entering this bout with a record of 8 wins, 2 defeats, and 3 of his 8 victories by way of knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, pretty boy Joshua David Rivera. We now go to Ed Claudio for the instructions for both competitors.
Joshua, from here on up is good. Okay, I gave you the rules in the best ring. Give me a good, clean fight. Protect yourself at all times. They're going to touch them up now, touch up, and knock out bless.
So we're set to go. 6 rounds in the welterweight division. Larry Friars, a mainstay in the New York and Pennsylvania club boxing circuit. Always involved in action fights. And Joshua Rivera, again, looking to get back in the win column here tonight on DAZN. Round 1 scheduled for 6. You see Larry Friars in the colors of Ireland, in the green and orange, and Joshua Rivera in the blue and orange. Corey Erdman alongside Curran Bhatia. And now joining us, the rising light flyweight contender, Andy Dominguez. Andy, how's it going?
How you doing, man? I'm doing great. I'm doing great.
Well, thanks for stopping by. I mean, you must love the atmosphere in here. This is New York City boxing.
I mean, it's crowded right now. It feels good. It's packed. It's also good fights.
See Friars trying to work his way to the inside already. That's certainly where Friars does his best work. His last win came over the 6-33-2 Brian Abraham back in 2019 as Joshua Rivera digs a left hook to the body.
And Andy, we heard the crowd's support for Larry Friars. The Ireland contingent is definitely here. As a fighter, when you sense that energy from the crowd, what does that do for you?
I mean, honestly, when I'm fighting, I don't hear nobody. I feel like it gets quiet. But I mean, after the win, yeah, of course. I mean, after the fight, of course you hear the crowd.
Anyway, we've been talking about Friars and how he's kind of taken the approach in his career to not turn down any fights. He wants to fight as often as possible. And I know you've talked about the fact that not only do you want to fight as often as possible, but being in the division that you're in, you can't turn down fights.
Oh, you can't. I mean, my weight classes, it is difficult to find my opponents. It is hard. So there's barely fighters to fight. So
you understand that mindset then?
Yeah,
fight
I mean, yeah.
all comers. As Friars now goes back to the inside. Friars, Curran, has certainly succeeded in making this round messy. And if it's a brawl that he wants, it's devolved into one already here in the first round.
And how many rounds is this for?
We're going for 6.
Okay.
Friars said before the fight, his only prediction, he said, I'm an exciting fighter who will put on a show. His version of putting on a show is getting in there, brawling, making it a competitive, maybe even slightly dirty fight, right? He wants to make this into a brawl. He wants to make this into a war, and so far in round 1, that's what he's doing.
This is a great fight, man. Also a great matchup.
It's been a good one so far. As round 1 edging towards a close. As Larry Friars getting the brawl that he wanted in the opening 3 minutes. Round 2 underway. We'll see if Joshua Rivera could find a little bit more of a flow here in this round. He described himself as a fighter who disguises his punches well with movement. And Andy, maybe you can speak to this. When you're in against a guy like Friars who's trying to crowd you the way that he is, what can Rivera maybe be doing to create a little bit more distance?
I think more angles. I mean, I think he should be outboxing him. You know, Larry's coming forward and throwing like hella punches. But also, I've seen him fight before. What's his name, Rivera? I've seen him fight, and he also comes forward. This is a great matchup.
So Friars trying to shoot shine to the body. The rugged approach of Larry Friars getting the best of Joshua Rivera to this point.
And crowding Rivera worked in Friars' favor. He was able to land a big right hand a moment ago. He's landing a few more now.
This is going to show who has the best stamina, honestly.
Well, again, in a 6-rounder, you can kind of go at a sprint pace. You don't really have to pace yourself if you're Larry Friars, and he is certainly not.
Yeah.
We mentioned Rivera having the ability to box. Rivera is trained by former featherweight champion Tiger Smalls, and Rivera's last fight was against Aaron Aponte, where Rivera did fall short. I asked Tiger Smalls about that fight. I said, was it a learning experience? He said, no. If we fight the exact same fight we fought against Aponte tonight against Friars, we will have success.
That was on Madison Square Garden? What did he?
That was in Madison Square Garden.
Yes.
That was a testament to the difference in opponent, Aponte, who's maybe more rangy, working at distance, versus Friars, who's going to brawl and come right at you.
And also, this Fryer for Jose Vargas, right? Pretty sure he did. Yeah. I feel like that was the last time I've seen him fight.
Closing in on the final 30 seconds of round 2. And guys, for Friars, to this point, it's been about as much about activity as it has physical strength. He's just keeping Rivera pinned where he wants him, and also he's getting an official, a referee here tonight who's allowing him to do this. Friars and Rivera tangled up once more. Final 10 seconds here of round 2. Good right hand connects there from Friars. What a start for the fan favorite from Yonkers.
I was a stranger in the city, out of town. I had that feeling of self-pity.
Here we see some of that brawling that Friars has been doing. To your point, Corey, he's exerting a lot of power, right, because he's leaning on Friars. He's leaning on Rivera. Now, that's not as easy to do unless your name is Vladimir Klitschko or you're significantly larger than your opponent like Tyson Fury has been in a lot of his fights. If you don't have the size advantage, if you're close to the same size, that can be a difficult game plan to keep up for multiple rounds. It'll be interesting to see what will happen if Friars does lose some of that energy.
Round 3 begins as Larry Friars attempts to snap a 6-fight winless streak.
Friars keep catching him with a good right hand.
And you mentioned the referee last round, Corey. I spoke to the referee, Eddie Claudio, before this fight. I said, what's your mindset? How do you referee a fight? He said, if guys are tied up, I will give them at least 3 seconds to work out. So what that means is Friars is going to have at least 3-second bursts to do work when he ties up with Rivera.
Friars just misses over the top of the right hand there. Well, and when you think of downtown New York City club show boxing, that's what you think of, is working on the inside. Those fights in the 1950s that seemingly all happened in a phone booth. We're getting a little taste of that right now as Larry Friars just mauling Joshua Rivera to this point.
We're seeing a consistent game plan from Friars. I think the question is, what is the game plan from Rivera, right? We know he can box and move. He can also brawl, but he's almost fighting what Friars wants him to fight here, right? It looks like he's getting caught up in a brawl. If that's your game plan, that's okay, but at the same time, you don't want to let your opponent dictate what you're going to do there and there.
I just feel like Friars just not letting him. He's not letting him. He's literally just coming forward, throwing punches nonstop. And that's what's making it hard for Rivera.
Rivera broke free and landed a couple good uppercuts there on the inside, but Friars just continuing to lean on him. And he comes over the top with a nice right hand, does Larry Friars. Eddie Claudio getting a little bit more involved here, but again, we go back to the fact that this is a 6-rounder. Even if Eddie Claudio right now starts taking a hard line on some of this grappling on the inside, Larry Friars probably has 2 rounds in the bank right now.
The game plan in a short fight, 6 rounds, is a great game plan if you can extend that energy to at least 3 rounds, and it looks like Friars is going to be able to do that. And that's probably what Rivera needs to do. You saw those short right uppercuts that landed as counters. We probably need to see more of that from Rivera if he wants to have success.
Too, I feel like more angles because he just keeps putting pressure and he's pushing him basically.
Well, now it is Rivera
Wow.
who will be penalized here. And I believe Eddie Claudio, who's either motioning about holding or a clash or use of the head, will get a clarification perhaps at the end of the round. But nonetheless, this is a big hole for Rivera to work out of, and that is a big right hand that connected from Friars once more. Let's take a look at the replay here. What are you seeing here?
Honestly, I feel like Rivera has nothing. He can't do nothing because Fryer is just coming forward. So it's just making it difficult for him. I mean, it's hard being on the ropes. A guy pushing you, throwing punches. It's pretty hard, man. Unless you have to, he has to do angles.
It's also not a very big ring that he has to work
And
with
also,
here,
too,
too.
it's not a big ring, exactly.
Not a ton of room to escape as we take a look at the corner of Larry Friars.
And it foggy London town. The sun was shining, 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 shining.
Round 4 now underway, and it may already be desperate times for Rivera. Potentially has lost 3 rounds plus the point deduction, which Curran, perhaps you have an update on.
I spoke to the referee, Eddie Claudio. He said that was for holding behind the head. He penalized Rivera. Now, if you think about what a tough assignment this is right now, you have Larry Friars, who has no backpedal here. He's able to impose his will, pushing back Rivera, and Rivera is trying to keep him off him using counters. That hasn't worked, and he lost a point for holding behind the head. Andy, that's not a fun day in the office necessarily.
Definitely not.
No.
I mean, not for Rivera, man. Honestly. Oh, what?
Well, and perhaps a makeup call here. It's been messy on both sides. The Rivera corner celebrating that point deduction. Larry Friars now.
That kind of motivate him.
Certainly
Give him
did.
motivation.
Well, nonetheless,
Now he's on the ropes.
the pacing of Larry Friars, his punch output, astonishing to think of when you consider Friars' backstory. He was on the Irish national amateur team, but then gave up boxing to take a union job here in America. And at that point, he said that he was about 40 pounds overweight. He was smoking 40 cigarettes a day, but then decided, you know what, I need to get my act together. Took one amateur fight, lost it, and then decided to turn pro. And here he is, a fixture on the Northeast grassroots boxing scene.
It's an incredible story. You can imagine that it would be tough to be a professional boxer while smoking 40 cigarettes a day. Safe to say he's given that up as a professional now.
I can't imagine calling a fight after smoking 40 cigarettes a day, or 1 cigarette.
Nice body shot.
See Rivera almost trying to sink into the ropes to squeeze a little more room out of this ring, and there's just nothing there for him to work with as Friars just mauling him again along the ropes.
Rivera is trying to get more room for that right uppercut. When he's been able to lean back, he's had just enough space to land it a few times cleanly on Friars, but it has been few and far between. One thing that might not be helping Rivera is, by their own admission, they say they have a granite chin. His team feels like that. That means he can take a lot of punishment. So he may not have urgency here to try a different game plan. Right now, he's fighting Friars' fight.
Andy,
That's what he has to do.
I was going to ask, do you think a key for Rivera is when they do get broken up, because eventually Eddie Claudio does break them up, for him to at least win those exchanges when they break them apart to at least land a combination before
Yes,
Flyers just
so
crowds him.
Once they break down,
Let your hands go.
Let my hands
Right.
go and do the angles right away. Like right there, he could do angles because he's too squared up.
Fryers right on top of his chest as he clubs away with that right hand once more. A frustrating night at the office for Joshua Rivera.
Is this the 5th round?
Round 5 begins. This one scheduled for 6. Larry Fryers and Joshua Rivera.
Nice.
And a big right hand connects from Fryers. Well, Andy, we talked about those being moments that Rivera can capitalize on.
Exactly,
But it's
yeah.
Fryers who's letting his hands go.
He just non-stop throwing punches, man.
And another point deducted from Joshua Rivera. I mean, this is going to be a mess to tabulate on the scorecard. And Rivera, you see the legs give way just a little bit after the right hand from Fryers. What a start to the round for Larry Fryers. 2 big right hands and a point deduction in his back pocket.
One of the many issues that Rivera is having is when Fryers does crowd him, you notice the left hand of Rivera goes behind the body of Fryers. That means that his head is open, and that's why the right hand has been able to land so cleanly for Fryers.
But not only is the head open, but Andy, that means he can't punch with that. You
Exactly,
can't hit him
yeah.
when your hand's around his back.
And there it is again and again.
He keeps catching him with the right hands, man. Wow. Right there, right
Big
there.
right hand, and Rivera may be hurt. The body language of Rivera at least temporarily changed after that right hand. Rivera just cannot get Fryers off of him. Fryers a union laborer by day, and he is doing work along the ropes.
Rivera does not have an answer for that massive right hand that has landed over and over again by Fryers.
Also, too, I think Fryers is like way too close to him, and I feel like he doesn't know how to use his distance, because he was hurt right there already. All he had to do was step back and throw another overhand. Well, just my opinion.
See, Fryers tried to create a little distance there for his right hand, but just continues to smother Rivera as we close in on the final 30 seconds of round 5, and another right hand, a succession of them from Fryers.
Rivera has not been able to counter with his back on the ropes, and he has not been able to use his footwork or movement to get out of these traps that Fryers is setting.
Uppercut breakthrough from Fryers. Now a short right hand as well. Rivera really getting knocked around with some of these shots on the inside. The most impressive round of the fight for Larry Fryers. Let's take a look back at some of the action from the previous round.
So you see, he's gonna get hurt right now. Watch with the overhand. Boom. And he pushed him. Look, he pushes him. All he had to do is step back and probably throw another overhand. But I feel like that's Flyers' plan, like just to keep pushing him, throwing punches. I feel like he could have took him out right there.
And why do you feel Rivera is not stepping out of the way, trying to change the geography when he's backed up?
I think he just didn't study him.
And it looks like this fight has been stopped. Larry Friars breaks the winless streak and scores the upset victory here on Broadway Boxing. Well, Curran, that was not one that a lot of people were predicting, and that's no slight to Larry Friars. But over the last little while, Friars has kind of become that fighter that people are calling in order to get a win. But Friars just flipped the script.
Before this fight, Larry Friars didn't want to talk much. He said, I'm going to be doing my talking in the ring. There was a quiet confidence about him. He chose to do a game plan that's very difficult and demanding physically, and that's backing up your opponent for every single second of the fight and finding openings to land your power shots. He was able to do that successfully for 5 full rounds.
Well, we'll wait to hear why there was a stoppage. So we're doing a little bit of speculating here, but Andy, do you think that in addition to some of the shots he was taking, the blows he was taking, do you think he was kind of mentally worn down too?
Yeah, I feel like it was a good stoppage, honestly. He was just catching him with like straight right hands. And either way, if it would have went to distance, it would have been a straight up unanimous decision.
Well, what a victory for Larry Friars, picking up the 12th victory of his professional career. Draped in the flag of Ireland, whom he represented as an amateur. We mentioned his path to the pros. At one point, Larry Friars was an 11-1 fighter with a totally different outlook on his career, and it'll be interesting to see where this win will now propel him. What kinds of opportunities will he look for? What kinds of opportunities will he receive after this win?
If Friars can fight like that going forward, it sets up interesting matchups because you think about what type of style could have success against that. It could be another brawler that could match you in intensity, maybe someone who has a size advantage, or a very slick counter puncher.
Also, too, I feel like he has great conditioning. He has a good stamina, and I think he's a good fighter. It was a good fight.
That was the key. Anyone can do that style for a couple of rounds too, but to sustain it for the majority of the fight, that's extremely difficult.
Exactly. He didn't even look tired. He just kept coming forward.
Well, it looks like we're ready to make this one official. Let's send it back up to the center of the ring.
Ladies and gentlemen, in 1 second of the 6th round, the red corner stopped the contest. Therefore, the winner by way of technical knockout, lethal Larry Friars.
So Larry Friars victorious, scoring the 12th win of his professional career, and after what was a messy one, Friars and Rivera can embrace, and our current Batia standing by with Larry Friars.
I'm here with the winner, Larry Friars, who now improves to 12-6-1. Larry, before the fight, you had a quiet confidence about you. You wanted to do your talking in the ring. You certainly did that tonight. How were you able to keep up that pace throughout the fight?
You know, before I answer that question, please, I just want to say a massive thank you to all the supporters you came out to me. Guys, you are absolutely amazing. Thank you.
The fans and supporters came out tonight to watch you perform, and you were able to perform. You stepped on the gas the entire way. You asserted your will. How did you keep up that pace?
You know, the only way I was fit to keep that pace up was, you know, I had a long camp, you know, and there's only one person who knows how much this really means to me, you know, and that's my wife, Catherine. You know, she's seen how much sacrifice and how much dedication I put into this fight. You know, I was coming off a rough run. I was winless in my 5 previous fights. You know, I had stepped up on numerous occasions, and unfortunately, I just wasn't fit to give it the dedication and desire that needed to be given in order to perform at such a high level and a high pace. But, you know, I sat down with my wife before this fight and I said, Catherine, this is it. You know, I haven't got another shot here. You know, I want this for me and my family. I want to provide for my family. You know, I've sacrificed so much and got nowhere for it. So going into this fight, I completely dedicated myself to it. I had to shut off myself from my wife and kids to the point of where I was at home with them, but mentally I was in this ring, you know, and it showed on the night, every round, that my opponent, first and foremost, was an absolute warrior. You know, he came into this ring, 8 wins with only 2 defeats. He had never been stopped prior to this, and I knew he was going to come all night, so I had to make sure that when I got in this ring, that I had enough gas in the tank to do what I had to do. And thankfully, I had that and more, you know. I had God on my side there tonight, you know, and thankfully he was with me the whole way through that fight, and he made sure that now that I'm fit to get home safe and sound to my wife and kids. And like I said, as soon as I get home, I'm going to enjoy tomorrow with them, and then it's back to camp to me, because this here fight was the start of a journey that I should have been on years ago, but couldn't give myself the dedication to do it. Now I can. Now I've got the right team around me, I've got the right coaches, and I've got this support here. So New York, we're coming to take over big time.
Larry Friars, congratulations.